This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Perform the oath of office.
So do I have to stand here or over here?
Over here.
Okay.
Did she give you a cheat sheet?
Yeah, it's right here. Okay, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Donald Norman,
A duly elected city councilor of the city of Vernonia,
a duly elected city councilor of the city of Vernonia,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Oregon,
I will solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Oregon
and the charter and ordinances of the city of Vernonia,
and the charters and ordinance of the city of Vernonia,
that I will faithfully perform the duties of city councilor of the city of Vernonia
that I will faithfully perform the duties of city councilor of the city of Vernonia.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I now present you as the next city councilor of the city of Vernonia.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Let's see your face, John. How you doing?
Oh, that was 2 heads there.
There you are.
Yeah, John, give me a smile. Good.
Oh, yeah. Careful over that.
Where's the newspaper, man?
He's on the meeting right here.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Grant. Thank you, Dale.
Welcome.
Thank you, Grant.
Pleasure. I'd like to call the August 2nd, 2021 regular council meeting to order at 7:02 PM. Meeting called to order. Would you all rise and, if you're able to, and recite the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda tonight?
I have one.
Okay,
I'd like to put it in the new business C, cemetery flagpoles.
okay. Any other additions or corrections? If not, would anyone like to move that we accept the agenda for tonight with the addition of the flagpoles?
I'll make a motion that we accept the agenda with the addition of the flagpole.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Counselor Webb. Would you call the roll, please, Stephanie?
Counselor Webb,
Aye.
Counselor Norman,
Aye.
Mayor Hobart,
Aye.
Counselor Allen,
Aye.
Counselor Williams,
Aye.
motion carried.
Thank you, Stephanie. Mayor's report. It's that time of month, the first meeting of every month, that we I started actually last month, kind of a fun little exercise we're going to do. And it's called Packet Trivia. And probably Donald didn't get a chance to read the packet, but I'll pick something in the packet that just kind of a trivia question. And I also like to expound on a little bit. Whoever gets it correct or answers it, raises their hand first and answers it, could ask me a question. And then I'd like to trade off every month and somebody wants to play with it. So just kind of fun, keep things light and make sure everyone reads their packets. So, okay, the question is, on our workshop last month, we had a visitor, Paul Vogel from the county economical team. And he had a proposition that he's putting together, and it's to enhance the small businesses in our county. And he's trying to come up with a proposal to start a board for just small businesses and an entity in itself, actually. And so the question is, how many cities in our county?
Buzzers.
Right.
What is the name of the company that's going to put on the equipment maintenance software presentation?
First of all, I want you done asking my question.
Hey, you said you had to be quick.
You are correct on the 6. Can you name them?
Is it in your packet?
Oh, now he's adding.
No.
Vernonia, Rainier, Claskenai, St. Helens, Scappoose. And did I say Claskenai?
Rainier, Columbia City.
That's the one.
That's wrong.
That's the
Well,
one.
that's correct.
One you're missing.
Well, he answered for me.
Oh, I thought this was a.
Okay, JR, what's your question?
I don't have a question. We'll do it next time.
I thought you did.
Oh, I just
You're asking.
said the name. Solutions.
Okay. All right, moving on. See that one, everyone had a good laugh. There wasn't a whole lot in the packet, so it's kind of,
That's why I wanted to get one right before we get going.
boy, you were right on there. Okay, are there any council committee meeting reports?
Yes,
Okay, Dale?
Public Works Committee met on the 27th of July, starts with a J. Some of the things we talked about, the crack sealing, what's going on there. I brought up to them that we'd be doing crack sealing at the lake on the 27th of August. So any volunteers? They had some interesting questions. One thing that got brought up on the crack sealing that was observed up on 4th was our machine, when you come into a curve, the spigot sits back from the front wheel, and so you can't get all the way to the curb. So Sam was saying there's like 6 inches, but I went up there today and was looking, and it looks like they were, I don't know if it was just flowing out or what, they got pretty close on most of them. And the one on the hillside, that isn't a straight curve, it's a drive over.
Oh,
So you could roll it
oh,
edge of the asphalt and get that sealed. So it wasn't too big of an issue there, but I could see on a straight curb street.
we're going to have to figure
It
something.
is going to be a little bit of an issue. And we've talked about maybe some fixes.
Yep.
We talked about the maintenance program, the dude solution, just kind of briefly in an overall sense of having something like that. Isn't necessarily them because
Yeah.
they didn't have presentation or enough information, but and the Public Works Committee is generally in favor of something like that, if it's not too spendy and
Yeah.
It seems like that's a step forward. An idea was brought forward of IDing our storm drains with the fish logo or the saying this drains to a river or.
Oh, we've done that in the past.
Yeah,
We have a stencil.
we have a stencil.
Yeah,
That's what we talked about. So
we could,
maybe that would be another volunteer project or something.
sure, maybe for Salmon Festival, we get some volunteers to do it ahead of that or something. Mhm.
I'm not quite sure. This was Public Works. It's a little bit, I guess, but the Pioneer Cemetery, does it have a historic sign that's supposed to be placed?
Not that I'm aware of, like on the historic registry of the state historic registry.
That's what Michael was saying. He said he thought the sign was here.
I know nothing of that. I can look into if it was ever designated,
Okay.
because it should be on the roster if it is designated.
He thought it was a designated historic cemetery.
Yes.
Okay, I can look that up.
And then another sign was for the wetlands. There's supposed to be an Old Mill Marsh sign.
Yeah, we haven't put anything down there because it's really so unimproved there. There's not even like logs to pull up to. It's just all gravel. But we could do something like we have at the parks. If that's important. My only fear is without something kind of being established, like looking like we're caretaking down there, that the sign might just get beat to heck and they're about $500.
Yeah. Well,
Graffiti.
Well, I mean, we could easily put a metal sign. But if we're going to match our park signs like we have, they're a little more spendy.
yeah.
We could start with a metal sign that says Old Mill Marsh, natural wetlands or some little something.
Yeah. Maybe a little verbiage there, school mitigation
Yeah.
project.
Question while we're at that point. Is there any plans to kind of clean up to the north of the wetlands where the big concrete blocks are and all that stuff? Is that going to just?
That's private property.
Private property. Okay.
My private property. No, there is always plans to clean it up, Grant.
I didn't know.
I'm just a busy person.
I didn't know that.
So another thing, and I don't know if the city's thought about this, was the dark sky.
Yeah, our lighting follows the dark sky initiative. The only thing that doesn't is the downtown decorative lights. But all people that put them on, like businesses and stuff, have to aim them down.
Okay, so,
He wants caps on the decorative lights. They're super expensive.
oh, are they?
And so I pushed back on him saying, everybody,
So if you could get grant funding,
yeah, I mean,
and we could maybe when.
it's basically like a pan cap, right? It looked,
Right.
yeah. If we had something to pay for them, then I'd be all about it. I don't think it harms the look of them at all. It's just the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
I have a question on that one too.
Yeah.
If you don't mind. Are you saying, somebody is saying that they want any light to go up?
Yeah, so there's a national aim. It's called the Dark Skies at Night Initiative.
Right.
It's a lot to do with migratory bird populations get swayed one way or the other based on the light
Right.
going up. We have it in our code. So like Subway, any new business, their lights have to point down. They just can't be blazing up. So Michael and I've talked in the past, he would like us to get the caps that match over the decorative downtown lights.
Right.
So that it aims the light down and not up because they're all glass or melamine or whatever they are.
Okay.
Wonder why they couldn't just spray a coating on top real quick and easy. So that black
I don't know what
rubberized.
most of them just do the pan cap. I think it's not glass, whatever those are, it's some sort of thick, not glass product, like a plastic or something. So that's the only thing about the caps would be easier because then we wouldn't have the maintenance of going up and respraying when it peels off or gets too hot or anything. Most of the places just do the cap and they make a cap. We just don't have it.
and part of that too is not only the migratory birds, but it's also, it's light pollution in your night sky. And like Michael said, we live out here in Vernonia. It's nice to look up and see the stars.
Mhm.
Oh, when you get too much light pollution, you can't see the stars. So.
Yeah. So all our code makes these ones just got in before everybody was paying attention.
Something about everybody wanted to replace all the lights at the mill pond because of the ducks or something.
Yeah, those would have the same kind of cap. You could just aim them down.
Master plan, I think, on the Parks Department.
Yeah. So we could look at grants. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's willing to pay for
Grant for that.
to get.
And then just as we're up aggressing on light, we put it on, don't do it. So, and his last one was, there's different types of, I didn't write it down, what they called it. It's kind of it's not the Kelvin. Yeah, it is the Kelvin rating of the lights. There's different white frequencies of the light on these LEDs.
Okay.
And so I think they were saying, but anyhow, all he was suggesting is we should standardize that for the city for our outside lighting and try to buy the same. And
what's the benefit ratio there? I mean, what happens?
some of the blue lighting is, some people are really affected by that.
Oh,
And I've read some of that research myself and there's a certain Kelvin rating. It's more of an orangish light than the blue.
okay.
But anyhow, it's just kind of a thought if we're doing that, or, I mean, we might not have that now, but as we replace.
Yeah. Or if we ever get the project I wanted 12 years ago with the street lights being LED.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Well, no, like the power pole version aren't all LED.
Yeah.
That was a lot of places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyhow, it's just ideas. And like I told them, I said, we're pretty busy right now, but we can put some placeholders in there.
Right.
And then, if
Or if he wants,
Works Committee did some of the legwork and, like I told him, come in, talk to Angie, find out what, the base of the bulb they screw in, what their, there's a size, and find out what that is and the specifications of what we're buying, find out if that's what we want. And if it isn't, then see if you can find a replacement.
yeah, and over time,
And we just phase them in.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty much, had a pretty good meeting. So Ben and Bren brought us up to date on what we're doing with the transportation plan.
Mhm.
Didn't have any final numbers yet, but
No, he's still working.
yeah, still crunching the data.
Can you elaborate on that? I didn't know what you were talking about.
So we went out and reevaluated the street conditions.
Oh.
But besides that, I think it's growing. Because, and when I last talked to him the other day, he's actually going to start breaking the map out into paved, chip seal or oil maps, what he calls it, and gravel. And right now we have, I think, 5 condition states. And so some of it doesn't make sense for these, the chip seal and the gravel to have those ratings.
Because the ratings are really for asphalt.
Your ratings are basically for asphalt, yeah. And I mean, like, would you have a crack in a gravel street? Probably not, but we got cracking in pavement. That is one of our indicators of, that we downgrade a street when we see some cracking and then alligatoring and then, and then the rideability. And that's, I think, a lot of these streets, it starts to get into the rideability. Is where they start falling out pretty quick. So,
yeah,
I think I called it when I spill my beer test.
Right. There's a few of them.
If I got a beer in a glass and I spill some going up this street, then I know it's full. So it's kind of morphing. He's taken what we had before and actually put in, he did it just like our post office addresses, finding the, I think, bridges, dividing line one way, and
right.
I think it's right about around California is the other. But anyhow, the streets actually got distances. That's on his map. So when you tell him, if we can document exactly where we're at, and then if we have problems, he can see how much footage is right there between these stations on his map. So.
The ultimate goal is to see where we're putting in the effort and then have that drive which streets start moving higher in priority because we're consistently putting in effort, like in cold patch or some sort of problem area. That will help us determine which ones rise to get paved or get applied for, and we can use it all for making them better. That's the plan. But it's not fully cooked. He came just to give him a teaser because he had talked to George about it, and George was so excited about it. He talked to the committee about it, and Ben's like, I'm not even done. So he went to kind of give him a teaser.
Give George a pad and a pen, cut him loose.
Get his steps in, checking out the streets.
Thank you, Dale, for that report. And also thank you for driving around checking the grade on them. But don't do that during the day with a beer.
I'll use a soda pop.
Any topics from the floor tonight? Okay. Set agenda for acceptance. Set agenda for approval. City council meeting minutes for July 12th, 2021. On page 1 and 2. I'm going to throw city council meeting minutes for July 19th, 2021 in there also.
We have to do them separately, don't we?
No, you can, for approval, it's all your guys' minutes, so you can just do one motion.
I did have some circle, an update right there on page 1 where it talks about Mrs. Anderson is requesting $16,024 waived. You guys are going to check into the legalities of that, or we got an answer?
No, so we're going to bring you guys all that at the ARPA work session. How you could do it.
And also on page 2, right in the middle, discussion how relief could be given to Vernonia business. Staff explained they will look and see how other cities basically tried that. Any movement on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
At the ARPA work session also.
So I've sent out feelers to everybody that did that. They did it with CARES funding and how they did it and everything. But yeah, we're just getting all that ready for your guys' work session. Give us the time to do it, all that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions on those 2 meeting minutes? Okay.
I'll make a motion then. We accept the consent agenda for approval.
So moved, Counselor Webb. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And seconded by Counselor Allen. Would you call the roll, please, Stephanie?
Counselor Williams,
Aye.
Counselor Allen,
Aye.
Mayor Hobart,
Aye.
Counselor Normand,
Aye.
Counselor Webb,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay, moving right into unfinished business.
Nothing.
No unfinished business. New business, tree stump proposal. Okay. At the workshop, well, last week, let me back up a little bit. I brought a proposal to the city about the Spencer tree stump, first stump in Spencer Park. And my proposal was to allow me to check the soundness of the stump, and if it was sound, I'd like to take on the project of having a chainsaw artist carve it. Idea I had. Anyway, so we got consensus last week to move forward with it from this body. And so last week, Marvin Howard, we call him Carvin Marvin. He's done several carvings in the area over the years. And in fact, the bench out in the hall.
Fish too.
Fish bench he carved. It's beautiful. I called him up and he agreed to come out and look at the stump. So I set up my Safeway scaffolding around it and he got up there and looked at it and he said it's sound as a dollar. So, which is good news. And so I had the idea, and I talked it over with Marvin and about carving about halfway up a boy sitting on a flat rock, if you will, facing the fish, with a pup dog sitting next to him. And so I Googled a picture of it, and Stephanie also did the same. And when I talked to Marvin about this, I had envisioned a puck fin and a little boy sitting there with a straw hat. He went, oh man, that straw hat. He goes, the brim of it would be pretty thin and it wouldn't hold up very well. So he said, would you mind a baseball cap? And I said, well, I suppose not. I'd rather go with a kind of a straw hat kind of theme. So I came into City Hall and Stephanie gave me a picture of a little boy with a baseball cap, and it's kind of like reminds me of an old 20s, 30s kind of attire theme. So Marvin talked about what kind of dog, and he liked the border collie. He said a nice border collie. So I like that today. So anyway, a couple pictures that we got, boy fishing and Marvin assured me he was really excited about doing it. And so if I can get a consensus or motion to further go ahead with this project, I'd appreciate it. So.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
Has there been any discussion about expense?
Yeah, he shot a price at me and $900.
Wow.
And I go, oh, is that all?
Yeah, that sounds cheap.
And so I think Marvin's a man of his word. So we kind of agreed on $900. So project like this, it's the whole community. So I'm going to ask for donations to help out.
Yeah.
Or wants to donate to help out. I would just like to, get going and be something nice that everyone can enjoy. So.
Only problem I have with it is, and I appreciate all the work you're doing and moving it forward, I really do, is you paying for it. I think the park should just pay for it.
Yeah.
You've done all the legwork and I'd be more than willing to make a motion to get it done if council agrees and just have it come out of park funds. I mean, we couldn't ask for donations.
I was going to say, I think you should still take donations, but get it paid for.
I'd have to grab my budget to even see where, I'd have to grab my budget. Do you want me to grab my budget to see where we get it from? I don't want to guess.
Yes.
I support it.
There's a number.
I'll give you $100 right
Just
now.
move forward.
Yeah.
It's like $900.
Looks like the money's there, so. Looking at our back page here.
Contingency or something. They talk about it here. Parks cash on hand.
Going on back here.
70.
Marvin talked about having the hands down where I'd get a bamboo pole, about a 10, 12-foot bamboo pole out facing the fish. And maybe at Christmas time running a line down to the fish or something. I'm afraid if we were,
Was that going to include staining and treatment and everything? So we won't have to mess with it for a year or two?
yeah,
How far is it from the one stump to the fish? 75 feet maybe?
yeah, probably something like that, 50 to 75 feet. So
Would it be a hazard to have like a metal wire
Well, I'm afraid somebody is going to mess with it if you have it year round.
I thought I heard
No.
you say that you'd like something like that. To have it connected.
Well, maybe at Christmas time, put a string of lights down to it or something like
Christmas
that.
only, yeah.
But
That'd be cute.
Just looking at Angie's quarterly finance report there, it looks like we had a cash carry forward projection of 104 and it looks like our ending balance is 118. So it does look like
Yeah.
there's some extra money. So like Kerr involved in that, make sure I'm
Right.
understanding that correctly. But
Yeah, so I think that's correct. There is more than we expected going forward. So operational, we have 30,000. We spent 23. Our estimated spending was going to be 25. Parks. We have been doing a lot more. And then we also talked about one thing we're going to try and get is for like beautification. I don't know if you noticed, we have red bark going in different spots, and then we're going to put in cedar, upgrade the cedar depth of all the playgrounds because it's getting shallow. So that's going to take a hit, but with the carry for it, it should cover that if that's what you guys want to do.
and maybe we can guarantee it with the parks, but
Fund
accept donations to,
out first
yeah,
and make, when it's time to pay, if there's still a gap.
Marvin never gave me a timeline. He's got a really bad hip right now and he kind of wants to let it heal up a little bit, he told me. So I'm assuming probably within a month he might start on. I'm going to help him with it, with my scaffolding and stuff, and I'll have him sign a.
Waiver, yeah.
So
So the only scuttlebutt I did hear in town is they would like it if the boy could have either an expression or some sort of motion, because the fish does look like there's a battle going on. So if he's just sitting and there isn't an expression or some sort of movement,
Tension.
yes, that would be good. If you're tying the two together, that the boy doesn't look like he's,
They can pull.
yeah, yeah. That was the only scuttlebutter.
okay,
That's a good point.
so is everyone kind of in favor of the idea, the theme?
I like it. I think you're just gonna sit there and rot if somebody didn't grab and go.
Oh, yeah.
For the funding, can someone make a motion that move forward and not to exceed $900 out of the parks operation fund or something?
I will make a motion that we accept Mayor Rick's proposal to carve a little boy with a pool and take it out of the Parks Fund. And also accept donations from any citizen that would like to contribute to the project.
What was the amount of the carving?
$900. Excuse me. Little detail.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second's been made.
You guys remember to. Counselor Norman,
Aye.
Mayor Hobart,
Aye.
Counselor Allen.
Aye.
Counselor Williams.
Aye.
Counselor Webb.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Hey,
Big year, we got donations.
Let's get her done. That was quick.
You want it to go into the Parks Fund or?
Wherever it goes, it's up to you guys. I mean, for the boy.
okay, staff report, meeting schedule.
Okay, well, brought to you by me. I have several different meetings you guys can schedule. I provided calendars that either you guys are in your meeting or there's a meeting here or perhaps not available. So you guys can get some in there. My proposal is to start with the CA evaluation and get that buttoned up, and then move on to project priorities and ARPA funding.
So today's the 2nd. We have regular council meeting on the 16th. The X's, I'm assuming, are
Those are closed.
Those are closed, right.
Either another meeting,
That's
steps
nice.
out, or you already have a meeting.
Okay.
I see Wednesday 11th is open.
For Monday the 9th also. Unless
Let's not do every Monday.
available the 9th? Is that,
Well, he was trying to figure out when Donna was gonna get out of here.
Yeah, so I think those plans are scrapped.
Okay.
okay. Are there any, how about we start with this? Are there any days you guys, Dale, you're not available 100% on here? I'll just start marking them off.
The 27th, we would maybe be available that night, I guess.
I'm gone all that week,
Oh, are you?
23rd through 27th.
Oh,
So we're gonna have to reschedule the trees workshop. The downtown trees was scheduled for the 23rd of August.
We do it on the 30th?
Well,
Let's back up and let's start with the CA.
Yeah, so let's do, I was trying to X out days so we're not shooting at a day and then you guys say I'm not available that day. Are there any days you're not available, Dale? You said the 27th of August?
well, we were going to do the crack sealing during the day, but that evening, I
So
suppose we,
put X on that. Tony,
No,
Rick, JR, what days did you say you were not available? The 23rd through 27th?
yeah, so those 2 days are gone.
Okay, great.
The 12th of August?
That's okay.
That's already taken anyway.
Oh, okay, that's right.
I can't on the 20th of August. That's a Friday.
Okay.
Cannot.
I cannot. I have CPR training.
So those are, the X's indicate something going on already.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
No,
Okay. So
that's for August only, right? So far?
there's 2 calendars.
I know, but,
In September.
okay. Well, it's already busy, so.
Can everyone do the executive session CA evaluation on the 9th, week from tonight?
I'm open.
Open?
I'm good.
open.
JR?
Yeah.
Get over with?
Yeah, I just wonder how much notice you have to give for that.
Me? 48 hours.
Oh, so we could do it even before, but I
That's
don't,
not a public meeting.
Yes, it is.
It's a public meeting. The public's just not allowed to attend part of it.
Oh,
Anytime you guys are all in a room together, it is a public meeting.
I'm just indicating I could do it sooner if anybody wanted to do it this week, but I don't care. If
This
you
is a
guys
big
decide you
week.
want to do it the 9th, I'll make it.
This week's too busy for me.
Yeah,
I'm busy.
Okay?
it's Jamboree.
What time?
6 or 6:30.
6:30.
And as discussed before, we'll do 1 hour for you guys, and then assuming you guys get through it, we'll do the second hour with Josette.
Have the executive session first.
They're both.
They're both executive session.
Right.
Unless you want it out.
No.
Okay, that's the first one. Now, project priorities.
So that kind of came out of the update and how there's just so many things that seem to be similar priority. And we need to sit down and kind of go through that list, hopefully give you guys enough time to number it yourselves of which things rise for each of you, and then put a collective list together of what the majority sees as the priority. In addition to where they're already at.
18th?
Do you want us to prioritize every single one of them, or just like the 3 or 6 that we think are the most important?
Well, ultimately, it works out if everybody prioritizes all of them and we just do the numbers and do the average, because then it will rise or fall depending on how much you guys put yay or nay on it. And then some of them, I'm going to, even with, once we figure out those numbers, I'm going to say, well, this is going to be a priority because it's already fully funded or we're moving forward. I think it'll work itself out.
So how we did it before is I'll send it to you guys all in a nice Excel spreadsheet, and you'll have it on paper, and you guys can tally them up with one through whatever it is, 65 or something, and then I'll consolidate it and we'll bring it all here and you guys will be able to mess with it.
See whatever, yeah, see what your counterparts put as high or low.
So half the work's kind of done for us already. We've already kind of talked about a list.
Yeah, we won't have to get into it as much. I'm going to potentially at this meeting be putting on timelines. So when the money has to be spent by, when the projects ultimately, the different timelines and deadlines I have. So it shows you kind of what timing's doing to it as well.
Okay, my question is, if we have the format and everything for our priorities, can we combine the priorities meeting with the ARPA workshop? Do you think we could do one in 1 hour and one in another?
I don't know, because if you are interested, there are the presentations that we're going to have for the ARPA stuff for you guys to kind of fully be
Yeah,
able to ask.
a separate meeting then. Okay. So
JR had proposed the 18th.
18th, Wednesday?
That gives us a break for a day after council.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I don't know when we're going to get it done this month.
I'm okay on the 18th.
Are you guys unavailable to meet at 6? JR,
6:30?
is that you that had the conflict?
For the 18th?
So in years past, sometimes we would have a work session before a city council meeting. So we'd meet at 6, hash something out for an hour, and then we would start a regular meeting.
I mean, I
didn't know if that was.
could do one if we had to. I could leave a little early. I wouldn't make a big habit of it, but I could pull one off probably if you really want to do that.
It's just something we used to do. I didn't know if it was something you guys would be interested in.
You gotta feed me dinner when I get here or something.
So that's the 18th.
Budget, I will provide dinner. I just wanted to throw that out there for you guys.
You mean before our regular Monday night council meeting?
Yeah.
She's not,
Y'all get here at 5:30, we meet for 4 hours or whatever, 3 hours, and then we don't have to come back in the next day. But if you guys want to, obviously, we're willing to.
What's our city council packet looking like for the 16th?
Not terrible. It's hit or miss. I mean, we could give you guys something simple and it becomes complicated, or something complicated and you're done with it in 2 minutes. So I don't.
I have a public hearing, but it shouldn't be anything long.
And then we have the potentially cemetery rules update and the new master fee schedule for the second soul in a niche spot.
well, we could shoot for the 16th at 6 o'clock for that project priorities workshop before the meeting. That
That'd be
work for you
fine.
guys?
6 o'clock.
They are?
I'll try it. Yeah, I'll try it.
But that's the priorities meeting, and we were just talking, we didn't think we could do it in an hour or so.
Yeah. You could do
Yeah.
downtown trees. Get that one.
Could do.
I mean, you could do whatever.
We'll just push the trees out till mid-September or something.
Oh, okay.
So then to go with JR's previous proposal, the 18th, would that work for you guys?
It would work easier for me.
Yeah,
6:30.
Priorities.
yep.
We're doing which one on 18?
Priorities.
Priorities, okay.
I'm not as cranky if I eat first.
And that's going to be an hour before the meeting on the 16th?
Nope. August 18th at 6:30.
We'll print a calendar and email it and put it in your boxes.
Thank you.
Priority meeting, okay.
So we're not meeting on the 23rd then?
Nope.
No, JR won't be here.
So then ARPA looks like it's probably in September, unless you want it at the end of August.
To do it on the 30th.
Do I have that right, JR?
ARPA funding? Okay.
9th, 18th,
And what time is this one?
6:30 both of them.
Okay.
Do that on the 13th of September?
What's that?
That's fine.
American Recovery Act stuff?
Yeah.
I want to make sure the staff has enough time to get all
Yeah,
the
that's-
information.
That'll give us plenty of time.
Yeah. 13th.
13th.
We're going to be into every Monday again on September.
Well,
Yep.
busy fall.
Let's load this up in October.
Yeah, load it up every week.
Yeah, Dale.
I'm hunting here, so.
You have other ones that'll be coming to you in October, so
Now what will the,
don't count yourself saved yet.
ARP funding. American.
Okay, that's it then.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
I like doing it this way. Thank you, Stephanie, for doing a calendar.
Yeah.
yes, thank you. Very helpful.
Yeah, I went through my phone and cleared all this junk. It was up on there from my company every single day. Get rid of all that, start over.
Yeah, something I started to do last year, feels that really helps me with it. Well, into my meetings, well, she'll make me a calendar for that month, and those are the meetings I attend, my liaison meetings and council meetings and workshops, and then I have the whole month there.
They're also on the city website.
Yeah,
Just nice to hang one on the fridge.
Yeah.
definitely. Okay, cemetery flagpoles.
Okay. I sent out an email that I've been going back and forth with some pricing on 1.5 OD. I think Ben was going to verify the OD size of the poles that we're currently using. And you can see the price on there for 35 of them. It's coming just under $4,000 from Swan Island Sheet Metal in Portland. We do quite a bit of business with. I had them just price them up for us. And kind of the reason this came up was, well, we were working on this on the cemetery meeting, last couple of them. But when I went up there after Councilor McNair's funeral, I seen the flags were up and I didn't know they were up, and I thought it was just great. And I thought, if we had those aluminum poles, I think we could make that available to everybody that would want it. And I think we could pay for this by having a $400 fee put up and take down if families wish to have all those flags up like that. You did 10 funerals like that, you'd have your money back, just another service that I think if people saw pictures of that, they'd really like it. They might opt to say, I'd like that for my father or my brother or something.
Veteran.
Yeah, anything like that. I mean, then it wouldn't be so cumbersome for staff or someone to, maybe we even have to craft a little lawnmower trailer and tow them out or something. I don't know, but we've all done it before. We know how it is, but. So he priced up this aluminum pipe, 1/8" wall thickness. I'm thinking that's going to be enough, I'm not. Anyway, it wasn't in millimeters this time. This was outside diameter. So I know Ben was going to remeasure again, but I know we have 2-inch sleeves up there. So I think 1.5 is what we're using, but we want to double verify. And my proposal was that we just somehow come up with the money and just do it and get it done. And I think it'd really be nice to have up there and something people could manage. Probably aluminum's 2.5 times lighter than steel. Plus if the thickness is, you might end up 3 times lighter on one, well, some of them thicker ones. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring it up to you guys and see what you thought. I don't know where we get the funding from, but obviously it come out of contingency or something. Takes about 12 weeks to get these, so don't have to get all 35. I think there was 35 holes uncovered last time I talked to Ben up there, 34, 35, something like that.
I think we put up 25 Memorial Day, didn't we, Joseph?
Yeah,
About that.
we probably didn't put 34 up. I don't know what was put up the other day. I think just mostly the middle road, but.
I think there's 30 some.
Oh,
They're 30.
anyway, I thought it was great.
I forget, we pulled 20 some to begin with.
Yeah, and then kept going. I know.
We didn't have them all.
How long did it take to put them up, you think, and how long did it take to put them?
I was not there when they got put up. An hour?
Sure. Well, we had a pretty good crew.
We had like 10.
Yeah.
So the tricky part, a couple concerns of buying them all at one time.
Yeah.
I'd like to test out the wall thickness only because of my experience with the safety rails at the snack shack and how the kids can pull on them enough that they end up bending it. We've had to replace one of those already and put a piece of rebar inside so they can't get the leverage to bend them, because that must be really fun.
Yeah.
So I'd like to get one and test it, leave a flag on it, test it kind of in a tougher condition, wait for it to be, something beefy coming at us and see how it does. The other concern I have is, I don't know how long it would take one person, even with aluminum poles, to do all of it. I don't think you could do it with one person because of not letting the flag touch the ground and such. So another kind of flip side, if we're talking about offering it to people, what if we offered like a checkout fee and they could do it how we did it, where it's somebody's the responsible party. This is the protocol of how we give them access to the stuff. And then, because I don't know that we have the staff to do it very effectively a lot of times, is what I'm saying. I don't, I think we should give people the option, especially people that are being buried up there. But I wonder about how we pull it off every time, just with we have Ben and Mitch, that's it, for cemetery work.
So I said, I have a concern about what you're suggesting. We'd have to charge a deposit.
Yeah, and then have a protocol and we would have a staff person there as it's happening, but like to have the one person or two people try and do 35 flags, that could take a lot of time.
It takes 3-4 hours.
There could be a price for 6 flags. They just want 6 or 10 of them. They don't have to have.
Price per flag.
Oh, yeah. Whatever the version would be, that was just my initial concern about us doing it fully from staff.
Then there's also, there is a, you have to concern about theft. It is aluminum. We probably wouldn't want to leave them out overnight.
So one of the questions came up when we were taking them down, because we talked about how heavy they were and with the people that were there. They asked, are we going to get them coated? Because the silver version, it doesn't look as formal as a dark pole or a white pole. And I don't know what you would even coat aluminum in. That was just a question that came up.
You have to be powder coated and that would be probably fairly expensive.
Yeah. So that was the only tricky part. Will the silver look as dialed in as
aluminum is going to oxidize, won't be quite as shiny. I did think of that. I think the white probably does look a little classier.
Could you treat aluminum? Can you color aluminum with any sort of treatment?
Put a chemical on it that'll take the shine off of it real quick, but I don't know if that's going to look any better.
Oh, okay.
It'll just kind of make it oxidize and stuff. So you don't have that new look, but
Yeah, and the painting them with
I have another.
probably a little more sketchy and
Yeah, still scrape off.
it's the same issue we're having with,
Yeah.
they scrape off or they get dirty and then you're still cleaning
I
them.
don't want to store them in outside anymore. Just keep them clean indoors.
Yeah, make a rack in the shed or something that they slide into. Which I think the metal version, if you're sliding them, then that's a no-brainer. To not have some coating, I just don't know how it'll look when you get it up. I think that's one reason to get one and
Yeah.
have everybody look and see, do you like it?
Yeah,
Okay.
or get a couple of them or something, whatever. I don't know. I'm sure
Maybe if they had 2 different thicknesses, we could try it.
they do have thicker, so you could get an 1/8 and you could probably say, what's the next thickness? Maybe a 3/16 or something. Because you wouldn't want someone, like you say, to reach up there and just, and we'll bend them over, or
They're all
Yeah,
hard wind with the wet.
I'm blocking in the wind or wet.
You
I
want,
thought 1/8 inch would be okay for lightness and halfway strength, but it might not be.
how long are they?
18 feet,
They are 18 feet long?
feet in the ground.
Wow.
So then we measured them, they're 18 footers.
Mhm.
I do have another question, JR. What about the hardware? Or will we take the hardware off the old poles?
Well, we could, yeah.
Yeah, the hardware on the top is just an eye bolt with a washer and then a washer and a nut cut to the right length. And then how they clip on with like a dog leash clip to both the eye bolt and the
They got a
grommet.
bottom to tie them up.
No, you just put the eye bolts at the distance of the band of the flag. That white band there, one eye bolt's at the top, it gets clipped.
You just stand them up with the flag on there.
Yeah,
As soon as we
It
start
took our-
raising them up, someone clips it on.
Took our Lions Club, and there was quite a few of us that day, a good hour to take them down.
yeah.
And they only go down in the sleeve about a foot, those metal poles. They don't go 2 feet down.
Oh, what,
There's a couple that are weird.
Yeah.
We kept doing that. We were like, what the heck? Is it sinking or?
You want to just continue to work with Josette on that? Maybe
I can order the two
one or two and
I was just bringing up.
Look at it.
And see what they
Yeah.
want to do.
because you guys approved, this will still fall in your budget. You approved $400 to buy samples.
Even with the thicker ones more, it'll be,
Yeah, I could buy the 8th and then the next one up. We could test them.
Just gonna take them.
And then maybe could you guys task the cemetery committee with chewing on the idea of offering flag put up or an option to access that or something? Because maybe they'll have, I don't know, maybe Elaine has some insight from her other cemeteries if they do that maybe.
Yeah, that hasn't been discussed yet.
Yeah,
Our meeting's coming up Thursday if it's held.
okay. So yeah, maybe you guys chew on that and bring it back to council with some options.
So I guess our original options was an aluminum pole and then the expandable pole.
Yeah, the
Fiberglass?
telescoping one, I thought that the cemetery committee didn't want to try that. They just want to go with,
They're not gonna fit in the sleeves that we have.
yeah,
And I think you're gonna, by the time you get all the way up there, I think you're gonna have this motion going on and rickety. Then they got a
Eventually.
well, and one of the,
solar light on top too. Those will probably get busted.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Solar little charger thing, panel with a lot of them have that with a little light, but you could just see those getting tore up too, but.
yeah, that's one of the things we talked about, kind of thinking it all through. A lot of them disappear because the grass grows over them. And so I found some, I don't know if you guys have ever been to the Spencer softball field, but when the bases are missing, there's a rubber cap that goes in that square sleeve, and perhaps getting some rubber caps so that we clean them out once a year and we just cap it so that going to find them is not a problem because the grass isn't going to, be able to mesh. We'll be able to find them easier. Ben has been slowly, as he finds them, spray painting, cleaning them out, trying to get them exposed, but the caps would really do a lot of.
They probably make a green landscape cap for
Yeah.
a pipe or something that's probably about 3 or 4 inches.
I've seen them. So once we get them kind of all exposed, according to Cinda, who was the caretaker, there's like 60 holes.
Well,
If you found them all. Granted,
On both sides of the road there,
both sides of the road everywhere.
but some of them now are in the road
Yeah,
because the road's been moving.
yeah.
It's-
And the grass has been shifting. So the goal would be to identify them all, pick where we're going to keep them, cap them, and just keep that as the plan.
well, either we'll be repainting those ones again next year, or we will have new ones.
Yeah,
So it takes 12, it might take you a while to get a sample. It could take up to 3 months to order that in, he's telling me.
okay, well, I'll call him and see what his turnaround is.
They might be able to get a smaller amount faster, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're nice people,
Okay.
they're nice people over there, so.
Okay.
thank you, JR, for pursuing that.
So what I'm getting from it is I'm ordering 2, an 1/8 and the next thickness up as testers. We're going to put them up in a stormy time and see what happens. Okay.
Yeah, we don't want people bending them over for a joke.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, any businesses from departments? Oh, okay. Finance report, fiscal year 2020, 2021. Back page of your packet. Any questions or discussion?
I see the cash on hand on admin was 125%. Was there an expenditure that had to go out?
No, that's what came forward.
We ended up with more than what we anticipated.
Left in the kitty to roll into the next year.
Yeah.
Cash on hand is the money in the bank at the end of the year that rolls forward. So we had thought we'd have around 240. What actually was left in the bank at the end of the year was 302.
Then why does it say percent used 125?
It only says, because it should say percent, not used. The used would be in the, yeah, it shouldn't say used.
Expense and transferred out,
Yeah.
they used.
Percent left.
Or just percentage of budget versus actual, basically.
That's the part that I guess it got me.
Yeah,
And actually on that, I know we're looking at the admin section, but for the whole general fund budget was actually the 302, 227, and
Yeah.
335.
right.
So we're a little better yet than. And actually our anticipated was 224, so we're up quite a bit.
Yeah,
I mean, what we put into this year's budget
That went for the trees. Probably.
gives us some breathing room.
So no chief tonight?
no. This is report at the second meeting. He had something going on. And Angie's moving her daughter to Hawaii.
Is she in Hawaii now?
Yeah, they went on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Jenna there. So if you have questions, she's happy to take them when she gets back on the 11th.
August. You could have asked me that in the trivia and I would have got it wrong.
When will Angie be back from vacation?
Looking at cemetery, we're up pretty good too there, 31,000 versus 17 grand. That's all, and I'll have some
The
questions.
thing I noticed about the cemetery is the letter, they did, the engraver came
Yes.
and one of them's crooked.
No.
Slightly. Oh, I guarantee it.
Oh, I didn't see it as crooked.
Just slightly, but it's like, where's that one straight plumb and this?
Could it be that the panel's not straight?
I guess it could be.
I don't know.
Panel didn't look
It
right.
looked straight to me. Which one? The woman's?
One on the right.
Oh, the man's. It's weird because because the one lady's got 4 and he's only got his name. And so it looked weird at the initial to me, but then once I looked at it, they
I
looked,
was up there when the shadow was cast just perfect on it. It was like tight on one side and a big gap on the other. And I was like,
of the actual tile?
lettering.
Oh,
I was like, why is that not level?
yeah, weird.
And then I looked at it again the other day and I thought, it's still not
Yeah,
level.
they use a jig and everything.
Yeah, unless
mean,
it's the panel or something.
Yeah.
When you get out of my car, I just thought I'd let you take a look at it next time you're up there, but
Yeah, look.
have Ben put a level on it.
Straight edge.
Yeah, it's OM Stone that does that. And they have a jig and everything, so you'd think it would be dialed in.
Locked on a panel, but
Yeah,
for some reason the two together.
we'll look at it.
looked a little, like one was weird.
What letter was it? Remember? what-
It was a name spelled on the call,
Right.
there's two, I forget, it's just two rows.
Well, when you're doing lettering, if you have a letter that's got an arc in it, they make it taller because that makes it look right.
Oh, I think it's
They don't, if they make it the same, it makes it too little.
Yeah, I'll have to look. I thought what threw me off was how much was on hers and how little was on his. My eye did a thing, but I'll have to look for the crookedness because I don't see it, but I'll check it out.
I don't know if they can fix it. I mean, those, some of those panels come off, do they?
Yeah, that's how you put them in.
Oh, but it's behind that, it's all glued and sealed.
Yeah, yeah. So if it's horrible, we could flip it.
Yeah, I would just double check it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to look 1 foot and go, why am I circuit?
Well, they had a service there on Sunday, so, and they didn't leave me a message, but I'll check into it.
Kind of particular on that kind of.
You had to get the benefit of the flags.
They did,
I thought that was pretty cool.
yeah.
Any other
Done by the-
discussions on the fiscal year report?
Yeah, I'll have to discuss with Angie there on the parks because can't quite follow her. I mean, we had a windfall, a profit on revenue. I mean, we anticipated 180 and we ended up with 261. And I think I did do the math on those and that is correct. Anyhow, just. And then, yeah, our expenses were actually down pretty good too.
Yeah,
Bit of savings there. There's, what, 30 grand in savings there?
This is,
yeah, we're making up for it with the mixing valve and plumber to fix the showers and stuff. We're doing stuff that's eating away at that windfall, but not as much as it could, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
there's 60,000 extra revenue and 30,000, about 90,000 extra in parks there, I see, minus a couple grand for payroll. So anyhow,
yeah.
I guess I sent Josette an email there today. If I remember right, when we were doing the reserve funds, there was always that, you never know where we're actually going to end up at the end of the fiscal year. I think this is basically our report right here. There, I know in water and sewer, but I think it was also open in parks.
Mhm.
That potential that we could then say, we're going to put a little more, that surplus over what we had in our budget document versus the actual
Right.
is a difference. And that difference, unless we're expecting other expenses already that we didn't
Right.
anticipate, could be thrown towards the reserve. So, but we need to have Angie here for those discussions.
Yeah, if it doesn't get thrown towards reserves, it will just sit there. It's not earmarked to be spent by staff, so staff's not going to spend it if it's sitting there. But what we had talked about was a certain amount of it, push it to reserves because it's a windfall, keep the rest in contingency. And then if something happens, we can always come to you and ask to use the contingency funding for whatever comes up. So, but yeah, we did talk about that.
Is that 20,000 under admin? Is that for the trees?
No. We did streets on the trees. I'm almost positive.
you mean the transfer out?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was pointing at, to transfer out 20,000.
I'm looking.
Oh, that's right, we took it out of streets, it wouldn't have been out of.
Well, and a word of caution, you're looking at last year's budget.
Yeah,
That's right. You adopt.
right.
2020.
Yeah, I had that same epiphany today. I was like, oh, oops.
Yeah, it's not, and
It's too.
that's the kind of missing thing is it isn't,
Well, it does say 2020, 2021, so.
we're in 2021, 2022 now.
Right.
So,
It came out of the second quarter.
Because I looked at the water and sewer and I go, those aren't the numbers. And then I
Yeah.
figured it out.
So yeah,
What was that transfer out? Was that for fixing up City Hall?
where are you looking at it?
He was asking about transfers out.
For the 20, yeah, I'm trying to find it for you.
I'd say it was for the skate park.
Oh, it is skate park. That is what it is.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
Yeah, because we didn't put anything in reserves
Right.
last.
Yeah, we just did
Pretty
the,
good guess, huh?
Yeah.
that should have been the quiz question.
Attack.
Should have been the quiz question.
Any other discussion or questions?
And you can always email Angie, come in and visit her or call her.
Oh, I can.
Okay. Okay, can I move on to correspondence? I do have a letter of correspondence from the Vernonia Cares I'd like to read. It's addressed to the Dear City Council members. The Vernonia Cares Board would like to affirm the need for noise and heat reduction in the warehouse area of our new building. With the installation of the air conditioning, the heat issue has improved. However, we noticed that the walk-in units must run often to compensate for the heat their units create to keep the interior cool. The other factor is the noise. We understand consideration has been discussed to create a baffle wall in a system to draw out the hot air and pump it out through the roof, plus bringing in outside air through a ducting system. We hope this idea or a different system will be considered and bids created so we can consider its cost. The second issue has to do with a side project which might occur when the street improvement happens later this summer. When our delivery truck pulls in, there is an apple tree which hinders his delivery. If the apple tree was removed, he could pull in using the area near the tree for a hammerhead turnaround. Could the tree be removed? It is quite old and I don't think the apples are harvested. Perhaps the adjacent landowner's permission could be gained. Thank you for your consideration of these two projects. Sincerely, Tina D.
So where did she mail that?
She mailed it to City Hall.
Okay.
Can I get a copy of it for?
Yeah, I'll give you the copy. I know it's been kind of an ongoing issue. And Josette, has Five Star done the final walkthrough yet?
What was the walkthrough they did?
They have not. I said I was scheduling them to do the walkthrough. I did a walkthrough of all the things that are still wrong.
Oh, I thought they came through here a few weeks ago.
Well, they've been fixing the things I've been pointing out, but I have not walked through with Clint, who's the owner, who will do the final walkthrough.
But
That's not going to be on it.
not really a 5-star issue
No,
because
Not going to be
we
on.
asked them to put this in. I mean, it wasn't, we tell them, oh, build something for us and they put it in and then we're like, whoa, this isn't acceptable.
Right.
I mean, we approved what went in, so.
This is a poor design issue. We had this conversation a year ago and you assured me that it was going to be real quiet compressors, like a cooler.
I never said that. I never said that.
Somebody told me that it was going to be really quiet and I had concerns of it being open up there. I think after the builder had said something about it being open. I know it was discussed during a council meeting. Somebody thought it'd be really quiet. And so to me, it's a design issue fail that it should go back to design for the fix. That's all I'm saying. I don't think you're going to be able to pin this on a builder.
No.
Or I'm sure there was probably plenty of people that said, this looks a little funky putting this up here with no wall or the noise. It could definitely be fixed with sound wall insulation. Well, as long as it doesn't transfer through the flooring, but I'm not sure if there's how it's isolated up there on, how it's mounted. But never went up there, actually looked at it,
How what's mounted?
how the compressors are mounted.
They're the top of the actual unit. So Mr. Bernardi wanted to move them to the roof or outside. If you do that, they do not make a top. That whole top comes off. No, does that make sense? And those aren't rated for outdoor. The interesting thing is they were well aware of all of these things when we picked them because we didn't have the finances to do the kind that had the outside. There was not the money. It was going to be 75 grand to do the full walkthrough with the fence in the middle with the piping and then a compressor outdoor unit. So
How bad is it? I mean, I haven't been over there.
it's just like every kitchen I've ever worked in the restaurant industry. So that's the kind of trouble thing is I think they want it like this. And it will never be like that in a commercial kitchen. It will never be like that in the warehouse side. The best we can do is the AC moving the air through and the acoustic kind of baffling. So similar to how you've been in places where they have like it mounted up above and it hangs down like flags almost, that kind of acoustic. And then wrapping the back of it in acoustic. That's the plan as of right now, which is a way more reasonable option. The other option that they're talking about, because it's a commercial building, I think they're going to be, I have not moved forward with that because I worry they're going to scoff at the price. Once the actual price of what it's going to cost someone to go in and do what they're saying, I think they're going to not have the money for it. And it's really,
Is it open or is there a wall?
there's a wall in between.
What about like rock wool insulation, 4-inch rock wool insulation?
Yeah, that's what I'm planning on mounting all around the cavity and then the hanging baffle in the front so that when it needs to be serviced, you can move that. They want to enclose it, JR. They want to build a stud wall, enclose it, and then do fanning in and out. But with the, what's the word I'm looking for? The kind of the relief you need to have for the mechanic to get up there, open the hatch, be up there working around. You can't enclose that space.
No.
Or it will never.
You don't want an excessive heat around it either. So
Right.
they saying it's too hot also? Is that what that letter said?
No, we put in air. So originally they thought that the warehouse in the design phase, the architects thought that the warehouse would stay cool. It's, metal shelves, it's concrete floor, it's nothing. But with the hot days, we realized, so we spent city money because it's our building to go up into the rafters, have Felton's put in line an AC unit. So now it's heat or cool instead of just heat. So they can use it in the summertime. But the kitchen on the other side doesn't have a heat problem. It has a sound problem. And one of the problems that I've talked to the seniors about is they have absolutely nothing in the dining room that would absorb sound. All the plastic, everything, we need to get some artwork. We need to get a quilt. We need to get things that they want. And I even told them they make the acoustic paneling. If they give me artwork, we can have the art wrapped around acoustic paneling, have it hang like art, but fulfill a different purpose. So we're trying to go the acoustic route before we go for the wall idea, because I don't know that the wall idea is even feasible. Felton's was like, there's barely room for my guy up there, let alone now a 2x4 wall and some hatch he's going to crawl through or something. I mean, we were trying to visualize it. It's pretty tight up there.
So if I'm hearing you right, it looks like we've worked through one of the issues and talked about the other issue, but it seems like the letter comes because somebody's frustrated that we've hit a stall point, maybe.
They're frustrated that they're not a number one.
Put it on number 55, 56. So is that where we're at now?
Well, I mean, that's the reality of it, is that I'm trying to do it. I've researched all the stuff. I've talked to the company that can get us the stuff. I've done measurements. I've figured out the bracket and the mounting and everything. It's just it's not fully out completed and installed.
I like that idea you have about the hanging brackets from the ceiling
Yeah.
in front of it rather than enclosing it. I mean,
Yeah.
at least it would baffle it.
Well, and then we talked about also doing some boards. So I sent the floor plan to the company because there's certain ways the sound's going to hit. So they need to know what the different surfaces are to say, what's this machine doing and where is it sending it? Because one of the things that I talked to the kitchen about is we're going to need to I don't know if you've ever been to the BCLC, but the whole ceiling is acoustic paneling wrapped in fabric. And so where they have those two openings, one to serve food and one for the dishes to come in, there needs to be a panel board up above both of those because the way, it's just like if I stuck this in this cup, it's going to shoot the sound out. That's what the walls around the walk-ins are doing. The compressors are sitting here and there's a U-shaped wall shooting the sound out.
Is it tall up there, like 6, 8 feet or?
No, it's like 5 feet.
Okay, so
It's not tall.
they have these really cool panels now and all the rental companies are renting them. So you can even rent them and try. They're acoustic sound panels. And when we were like running a conveyor, digging a hotel downtown and big giant boulders are coming up and landing in back of trucks, the neighbors aren't happy, right? So we built a scaffold. Then you put these sound panels on in 2 or 3 layers. They come just like vinyl coated with the insulation inside. So there's no rock wool insulation, dust or nothing. And then they come with grommets and you just hang them with zip ties on scaffolding. And you can build a sound wall. The sound engineer comes out with his meter and he checks it when you're running. Yep, you're good now. And it really is quite easy. I'm just wondering if we could get some of those from a rental company and put them up there and kind of move them around and test, It wouldn't be a very big expense and you could play with it. And any of those companies have them, United Rentals or Star Rentals or whatever. They're just called like sound blankets. And it's kind of a real popular thing now for building sound walls around construction sites. So, I mean, they don't take it all, but they cut it quite a bit by how many layers you put on there. But they're probably this thick, 3/4 inch thick with a vinyl on each side. It's basically just that sound mat inside. But,
So how does the vinyl not just shoot it off?
well, it just absorbs into it, I guess.
Yeah. That's interesting because I haven't ever seen the vinyl kind. I've seen the kind that are either like
It's not a smooth vinyl. Maybe it's vinyl and what's like kind of black on the other and you put the black facing.
oh, okay.
It's been a couple of years since I played with them. I've only played with them once or twice, but they're pretty interesting. A lot of people are using them for loud sound like that. Just a sound blanket and you can buy them or you can rent them.
Yeah.
But when you were talking about not knowing where to put it, I was just wondering if we had a couple and we could hang it temporarily and check it out. Might be a solution. I don't know.
Dale had his hand up.
So I think the realization with being a kitchen is it needs acoustic tiling just all on its own because you're in there rattling pots and pans. And so I think the path forward that Josette's proposing, I think is the correct path because we're going to need to, if it doesn't work for the compressors, we're still going to utilize the acoustic tile. It's still going to serve a function inside that kitchen. If we need to go further, that would be the next step. So I still think this is the first step. Let's try that. Let's see if it works. Yeah, it would be nice to be able to mock up. But she is working with an outfit that's what they do for a living. She's given them the floor plan. They know how sound bounces and where it goes. So they're giving her a design of where to put these. And then we move forward from there. What I would really suggest is we have a metric to measure our success. I don't know if there's an app for a phone for a decibel meter or we get a decibel meter.
Yeah, I think we definitely test it and then.
In that room and okay, this is what the background noise is. And then once we do the acoustic tiling, see how successful we were and then move forward from there.
I have a question as well. You used your cup in inserting, is the noise very directional?
Yeah, so this is the other thing. The food bank side has the walk-in cooler and walk-in freezer. Those are in their plan. Those were not supposed to be got into every day. Right? That's why they have the other freezers along the wall that are the daily open, grab it. So those are stocking the dailies, right? I think part of what's happening is a lot more open and closing is happening. So the temps going up and having to kick it down and going up and having to kick it down. On the kitchen side, they're not having the same issue with the noise, only that it's just bouncing off everywhere. But theirs is kicking on less than the other side because I think there's just the access. So to also put it in perspective, the food bank's there from 10 to 2 days a week.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to go with the cheap option first, test it. If it fails, it still solves the problem. Even we could we're going to do something totally different, you could unmount them and put them somewhere else in the center where they benefit the building and back up to the wall build or the fan blowout or whatever the plan is that they have. So that's kind of the way I was going about it, is that I wanted to try the cheap option that could always be used as a backup in any other spot. And then.
So these are hanging ones that'll be out amongst the whole kitchen or
No, so.
up next to compressor.
So basically the 3 sides would have it mounted to the wall to absorb what's in the back. And then the baffle flag version, it hangs in front.
Right,
Capture it.
That should make a dramatic.
And then a couple above the windows so that the sound doesn't go out into the dining room. The dining room lights have acoustic panels above them, but the rest of it's just all hard surface.
It should work great, but I would caution, if anybody's worth a damn, they'll come out with their sound meter and do their own readings.
Yeah, I can.
If you're just giving them the information, they never come out here. They could say, well, you gave me bad information.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're going to pay them money, they should come out and do a field site, do their readings. Then you got something like Dale was saying, something to compare it to.
Yeah, I think the tricky part is it might almost be better money wise for us to hire someone to come do the testing separate from the company, because there isn't a specific company in Oregon. Everywhere you're getting this product from, you're getting it from out of state. So I don't know that there's the same testing guy connected to an Oregon company, but we could do both of those things pretty reasonably, I think. They're between $70 and $150 for a 2x4 foot wrapped in whatever color you want, with the mounting on it, all that. So we're looking at potentially $1,000 each side, maybe.
Oh, so you're not talking 30 grand to fix this or something.
Not with the acoustic panels, no. But easily, I think it's the other kind of cover you have by doing the testing of the sound is that if someone's still irritated by it and we can prove the decimal is something like a car going by you or other things you hear, and then we can kind of not.
I wonder if part of the noise we're hearing right now.
Yeah, whatever.
I think it's much more than that.
No.
I haven't been over there, but.
I think it's the hard surfaces versus all these soft surfaces are absorbing something. So it does come across louder. It may be the same decibels, but it's coming across to our ears differently.
Quite a bit louder. I've unloaded freight trucks in the new building many days.
Yeah, but the warehouse part of it, when you're only there 2 days a week for a couple hours a day.
Yeah.
And Joe, that's correct. I mean, they only kick on those condensers when you open it up and close the door.
Yeah, they'll hold temperature.
So when we have freight and we're putting it away,
then it's kicking on.
they're kicking on.
Yeah.
They're pretty loud.
Yeah.
But it's for an hour or two.
Mm-hmm. I think we can solve the problem. It's just, they've been the most vocal tenant the city's ever dealt with.
Well,
They let me know every time anything ever happens. And so I get their frustration, but we are on it. We are moving forward with all the things they want fixed. I mean, we're still over time. I mean, we were just there doing a door handle that somehow broke and a door kick that got ripped off. I'm like, how is this happening? I'm at City Hall every day and this stuff isn't happening, but that's what you do with tenants sometimes. So I hear them. I'm working on it.
And
So is that I have attended a church in Hillsborough that has a pretty loud band. And what they've done is they've taken, just try to follow my finger, 2x6, come in 2 inches, and then you round it like this, and you put pegboard on it, and you put styrofoam in it. And when the sound hits that, it kills it. And that way they keep all those loud guitars and drums from, it sounds really good because it deadens the sound, and they're really cheap. I mean, pegboard and 2x6, and they mount to the wall. They don't weigh much.
So where's the styrofoam? I'm not following. Behind the pegboard?
Yeah, you have your wall, and you have this like box with a curved front, and you put it inside that thing. It sticks out about this far, and they're about the size of that mat behind you, but they're turned like this. And I mean, they deaden the sound so that it doesn't bounce around.
Yeah.
Kills the sound, and they're cheap, and they're not really ugly. You can paint them the same color as the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another option.
The clearance I have back there is about 4 inches before I'm too close on the backside.
That's hard to deal with. You got 4 inches of clearance.
Well, I mean, for something to stay there stationary. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
When you open stuff, there's just different things they have to access. Yeah.
I have to go over and look at it.
I would suggest that. I took
Yeah.
a tour through. It's not a deafening sound. It's an irritating sound.
Yeah.
If you were sitting out there playing cards or doing whatever, trying to have a conversation, especially if people are hard to hear them without their hearing aids,
Yeah.
that constant droning, you hear them back there, it's just irritating.
I didn't even hear this until you pointed it out to me.
Well, that's funny you mentioned
He's
that,
out, I probably wouldn't hear it.
Dale. It's funny that you mentioned that because I've noticed that the older I get, when I'm around older people, they hear everything. They might not be able to hear their wife talk, but they hear. So, I mean, it could just be kind of an age thing going.
Well, I think that's what's going on with the seniors. I think it's hurting. I think some of them, it is a sound that we got to get dealt with. On the other side, it's harder for me. It's annoying, I get it, but I put together with my dad all the furniture in that building and it was annoying then. But that's it's like a commercial kitchen. It's a warehouse. It's not a library. I think that's kind of the belief. They thought it would be like a regular fridge where you never really hear it. And that's,
Huge motors,
yeah,
compressor.
well, I think you're moving ahead.
yeah.
That y'all's at. And
So I should have something back with the thing and I'll look up a testing because I think that would really kind of put them at ease too if we can prove, hey,
Yeah.
this is where we started and this is where we ended and it should suffice. And then I have been talking to Toby about getting stuff on the walls or even giving me art. If they have some flower picture they want, they can put that on the canvas and we can hang some things that will absorb some sound out there too.
That helps a lot.
It does, really.
Some quilts on the walls.
Well, that's the thing that I said, let's mount a hanging bar in St. Mary's, do a quilt cycle where it just kind of cycles.
In and out.
and
Yeah, art.
Tina did appreciate the cooling system.
Oh, yeah.
They in
Yeah,
there.
makes it bearable in there. And then they were having to store bread in the conference room because the conference room had the air conditioning and the warehouse didn't. And that was what was going bad, was the bread was just, if it's at 70 degrees, bread just molds instantly. So they needed it cooler mostly in the summer. So, yeah.
Okay, any other correspondence?
Thank you for your work on that.
Oh, sure.
Continue to work. Still working on the generator also, right?
Yeah, so the generator company had a little issue when they ordered my transfer switch. It was not 3-phase. So
What?
it's back in their court.
Hmm.
I'm like, read the invoice. But they're working on it. We'll get it there.
You ready for your city administrator report?
Okay. So update, all the projects are trickling, moving forward. We are going to put out 6 new cans for Jamboree. That's how many we'll have done for sure. We're going to go get plants and plant the top of those 6. So they should be in the downtown core. And so the old ones are getting removed. We have a citizen that would like them, so we're taking them to them. Take them away. You guys have now scheduled your ARPA meeting, and I'm going to get Dude Solutions, and then I'm going to have another presentation by TextMyGov, which was this interesting idea where in the background we would make kind of different posts that would go out. Someone could text the city and just put the word dump, and I could have a text message that goes back to them that says the dump's open the second and fourth Saturdays from blah, 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 to answer those questions that we don't seem to see on Facebook, but they keep happening. So we could just click text my gov, City of Vernonia, and then people could just text us. It also does things like if there's a problem like a water leak and you put water leak, it will say, can you take a picture of it? Can you point where you are at? And it gets data to city way faster than someone calling and leaving a message here at night or on Facebook where we're not regularly checking, or those different social medias. So interesting, thought it was worth them presenting to you guys and see if that's something you would want to, you can do it for anything. It can be, they use, and they'll probably do it with one of you, but they use my phone and they said, text, this word, and then they send you right back the answer. So it's kind of, you build a mainframe that will answer the most regularly asked questions. And if it can't answer their questions, it says that department can be reached at this email, this phone number. So if it's a public works problem, it will get them straight to the public works person contact information. If it's a city admin problem, if it's a streets problem, they can take a picture of it. So there's kind of some interesting, maybe something we'd like.
It could
So,
also be like water curtailment,
yeah,
flood,
right.
fire ban.
Yeah, can be anything and everything. You build it behind and then it just functions as a platform. So Dude Solutions, TextMyGov will be coming back with information about the system development charges, the potential for businesses, benefiting businesses, and then the list from Public Works, because you guys had asked what could Public Works use for infrastructure or equipment that they don't currently have. And so Jeff's putting that list together for your meeting.
And whether we can use it on streets.
Yeah, oh yeah. The Clatsop sewer project, so now that we know the legal issues dealt with, I'm working to get the logs moved, and then Jeff's working to schedule the install of the manholes and the piping, and then our engineer will come out, inspect that it's all to the DEQ report. We'll send in the DEQ report and start flowing sewer down a different line. Mr. Seepley can start developing his property after however long he's had it. Infosign update, we're all still working together. We're waiting for the polls. Once they show up, then Jeff's going to pull the conduit because we have to cut through the one little second approach to Spencer, because we're going from that light pole underneath and then coming up next to the Infosign.
Are we using the same base? Are we pouring new base or what are we doing?
So the Infosign is slated to be between the second entrance so there's the first entrance by the play shed, then there's the second entrance to that area. It's just this side of the memorial tree. So it's good line of sight. It's not going to block anybody. Where it was previously, when you came down the hill, you didn't have enough time to see what was there. So the 3 entities want it moved down there a little bit. So it'll be 2 new, because we have to do 2 poles, because it didn't have the mechanism to mount it to a singular round pole. So we're doing 2 square poles. And then they'll just be concreted in, and then Jeff's got the big bolts that are going to be in the concrete that bend so it can't do this or this. If that makes sense, what I'm,
It'll be parallel to the highway.
no, it will be perpendicular to the highway. So you see it, it's 2-sided. So you'll see it this way and you'll see it this way with the same messages.
It's on the walnut tree side of Smidland Tree.
I don't know whose tree it is, but it's near the second entrance, across from Knight's, basically.
The big spruce tree.
Yeah.
Is Smidland's.
Oh, okay. I didn't know whose memorial tree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's still trudging along. We've gotten different parts of it, but it's not installed yet. And then I'm still waiting for Clint to schedule my walkthrough. They've been sending out guys to fix the different issues, but we haven't done the final. Maybe that's his plan, is to get all the issues dealt with and then walk through. I don't know. Mr. Sterner's food truck is open and selling product. It seems like they're doing pretty good, and citizens are, they're going to be open from 9 to 9 every day of the week now, starting tomorrow. So we missed as you guys know, we missed the deadline because of the ADA ramps for the 2022 money, but that might be something to discuss. If we can use the funding for streets, maybe you guys earmark some of that ARPA money for streets. The 2020 and 2021, I just got the final approval permit with the stamped plans from ODOT for replacing the River Street and Umatilla ramps. So we're getting ready to have those popped out, and then John Swart will be putting the new ramps in. And then we're simultaneously designing the one for Spencer, because we know they're going to want that one done too. And then when John's here, we're trying to get him to finish the Nickerson sidewalk and do the cemetery flagpole base for the cemetery flagpole to go up by the monument where the Avenue of Flags monument is. So hopefully he'll be able to bust all those out. And then the Anderson Park showers have been fixed. They came and it was the mixing valve, 20-year-old mixing valve failed. Lasted a good long time, but now they have hot water. And number 17, the issue at Anderson Park is over. He moved out Sunday at 6:30. So that's all dealt with. And Jamboree, City Hall closes on noon on Friday of Jamboree. That's always been in the handbook and a regular practice that we're continuing. That's what I got. Yes.
The new food truck down at the lake, when is that other meter going to go in?
I have Blake getting me it. I'd have to call him and see.
So it's temporarily hooked up now?
No, it's hooked up. We're just going to put a meter in line. It's still going to run off the city's meter with West Oregon Electric. We're going to put a tallying meter in line so we can capture how much he's pulling and then use the bill to, prove that he's pulled so many kilowatt hours of usage or whatever. So that's at the electricians getting that and going to be installing.
Had a 1-year lease, or I can't remember what it was, a 3-year?
I want to say it's every year.
I
I
think,
have to look at it again though.
yeah.
And then we talked about if we go into the winter and he wants to try going into fall. But if winter, I said, he wanted to try and amend the lease ahead of him going in there. And I said, no, at that point, we just go back to council and do an amendment to add on to the lease. If they're okay with you, shifting that winter, there's no one out there, or it's just the local walkers and he's not going to make anything, just closing down for a couple months and then opening back up in spring. I said he could just present that option to the council.
Do we have to change the dates on that lease? Because we leased that to him over a year ago, and then COVID hit, and then
We never signed it. So I updated to new dates and then you authorized me to sign it. So it's for this year.
Okay.
And then it'll come back to you guys. And then if he does need the winter kind of shutdown thing, I said, we'll just come back and present an amendment instead of trying to tweak it all. But he wanted to get down there and you guys had already approved the draft that I signed with him. So I didn't want him to get held up.
So are we still moving forward on the lake view behind Fred's old house, Oviatt's old house? The sewer, we're still,
Still doing all.
even though we're going to move forward with Clatsop too. So we're
Yeah,
going to bang them both out.
right.
All right. On that Infosign,
And
I assume there's a programming port somewhere on that.
yeah, well, so it runs like the SCADA. So in the sign is the cell thing that they run. That's all part of the cost. And so it will have a mainframe version where each entity will have a login person that logs into the system and can make the
We
announcement.
can do that remotely.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So we just have to pick, kind of what we said we would do is once it gets in, we would all say what we want to have on there and then figure out how that's going to work together. Because I know school will want to have their things for certain times a year. I think some groups will trump other groups. Flood time of year, it'll be us and fire departments. School's probably going to just put snow day or something. Boosters won't have anything going on in winter, right? The different groups. So I think it'll just work out pretty easy. We talked about just each having a person and those 4 people working together so that everybody can get their timing and not have it be somebody who's monopolizing it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's kind of missing out of this component is it's going to be hooked to our electricity. We'll put a thing in line with that. And then we'll have some agreement where, we either pay it and they pay us their share, or we do a lump sum for the year based on estimates and that you deal with it at the end. Some sort of agreement needs to be made before we get it totally. Because we couldn't really figure out exactly how that was going to work until we see what it'll pull. But it shouldn't pull much. They're all LED little diodes and, other than the fan that's going to keep the innards cool or do whatever it's going to do, I don't think it's going to be a ton. But we'll see. You never know with the wet stuff.
Never know.
To add to your Jamboree weekend coming up, the chief said he's got some extra help.
Yes, the OSP, yeah.
So that's good. Both, I think Friday night he's got.
Yeah, they agreed to come at night,
Yeah.
which is really when we usually need most of the help. The daytime, we have very few problems. So yeah, they're going to go and get stuff to feed their crews. Basically, Iwalani comes and cooks on the barbecue back there and flips hamburgers or hot dogs or makes whatever they want.
So that's good to know.
Yeah. It seems like everything's going off really well for Jamboree as far as the committee is concerned. I've been in touch with Roger and checking. So we did one little hiccup. So, we give them the 30-yard dumpster. That's our city donation, which is one of the 3 we get with our franchise each year. We did move. We had multiple occurrences of people parking at the grandstands and dumping their household trash in that dumpster. So we moved that dumpster to Public Works, and we're not going to have a dumpster there. So because really Tim can put it in the back of a truck and take it to Public Works, the garbages, instead of having just someone using the system and filling it up for us. And last year, or in 2019, it had like a recliner and other stuff there after. So they did have to rent their own because they used to use it for the softball people to do their trash. They're going to get their own this year. So if you hear scuttlebutt that they're mad that we took away the dumpster, sorry.
So are we all good with the camping situation in Spencer Park? Or is that going to be another nightmare?
Well, so it's still private property where they want to camp behind Myers. It's still owned by Zipley. Apparently they've been talking to Zipley. And so the hiccup really, I think Chief found a solution. So problem occurs when the rest of the softball players come from downtown late at night. They walk through those two briar bushes at Myers through one team's campground. So that's when the bravado and the back and forth seems to be happening, is when the people are coming home from the beer gardens and they're getting into it in that spot. So they've agreed to get temporary chain link fence, block that as a passageway so that the rest of the players have to come down the sidewalk to go to their campgrounds and aren't starting that problem. So I think Chief's okay with trying it out that way this year, and we'll see how it goes.
They're not going to be out in the park.
They are. The one team that was over at California got kicked out of the Zipley property. That's where the problems were occurring. They will be back there. So there should be someone there around the football and then in that low wetland area. There shouldn't be anybody on the California softball side this time because they're moving to their old home. So hopefully.
Hopefully everybody behaves.
I'm hoping because everyone didn't get to do it last year that they'll be on their best behavior and really enjoy themselves and not start trouble. That's what I'm hoping. But you never know.
Okay, anything else?
I had some good comments about the drinking fountain.
Oh, good.
Everybody's got a chance to see it, but it's got an upper and lower ADA one. They got it mounted over there in front of the junk store.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
What do we do with the old one?
What?
What do we do with the old one?
We're gonna put it out by the backside of the lake where there's just that spigot there. Jeff's gonna reuse it.
Cool. Or maybe the skate park or something, right?
I think skate park, we're gonna do one like that for the dual is the plan, I think. Well, Wendy wanted Benson bubblers and I was like,
Yeah, it's a lot of water.
yeah, it's a lot of water all the time.
Go ahead, Don.
Any update on skate park for us? We got here.
No, I've gotten most of it's the prevailing wage thing that's just really kicking us. So I've sent out emails saying, has anyone ever just handed it over to somebody else to get away from that? Because it's not our money. So it's unfair that it would have to be prevailing wage because it's our property. So I'm trying to find the loophole so that they can get the full bells and whistles and it won't be plain Jane because we have to pay prevailing wage when it's not even our funding. That's really what should kick it. The law is a little weird, but I'm working on it. Just trying to find someone that's done it that way.
Go ahead, Don.
I would like to mention that as being in the back room as much as I was, when Dale and Rick and JR come on, it seemed like things started running better in the council. Seems to run smoother. I feel we're getting more, you guys have been getting more accomplished. And Grant coming on has been good. And I feel happy, honored that you guys accepted me to join you and honored to be on here. Thank you.
Again, thank you for coming forward and applying and congratulations. And we're glad to have you, Don.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
It was an easy decision for me because I knew how well you would gel with the group.
Thank you.
Okay, time for items from the mayor and councilors.
I kind of already did mine, so sorry.
I don't have anything tonight.
I'm just still moving forward with that project on the 27th.
Yeah.
So I'll try to find another body.
Oh, that, now I'm gone that day.
Yeah.
Well, you can push it.
I'll be here, yeah.
So
Just call me.
I'll keep pushing forward with that, working with the city administrator to
Yeah.
get everything. I've been making kind of a list.
Well, there's 5 boxes of buckets of rope out there.
Yeah.
And our 75 boxes of stuff got delivered today. So
Good.
we're ready.
Are they going to do some more?
Unfortunately, the grandstands got really majorly vandalized yesterday. And I was getting gasoline at the mini mart and I happened to look over at the door. I saw it open. So Linda and I drove over there. Door was bashed in. Latch was ripped off the front door. Walked inside, the screen on the right door room was completely pulled out, almost stuck me in the eyeballs. The left side, the control room panel the lock was removed with an axe. Walked outside down the track and it was full of glass. So there was about 6 softballs out in the football field, a helmet, 2 tires, and, I called the police. I called dispatch. I called here first, called dispatch, reported it. So this afternoon, I met Officer Hibbs down there and he did a report, took pictures. I took pictures. My only concern is this weekend, I don't know what to do. I kind of opened up the lock and there were 3 screws left. So I put the latch back in and kind of dummy locked it so it looks like it's locked. But I don't know if it's safety being Brown. I don't know how to secure the damn thing for this coming weekend. There's going to be a lot of people there. I'm at odds. I don't know. I'll try to redo the front door and put up the plywood back and maybe we could put some ribbon around there or something, but another keep out signs or something. But I picked up all the glass off the track because I didn't want Tim to, if Tim were to see it, he'd probably quit. But I
don't know if he'd quit.
I don't know.
We treat him pretty good,
Yeah.
but he'd be mad.
It's really discouraging when
Where do you think the glass is from?
it came from the cupola
Oh, so they got up.
on the roof and broke out the last window.
They were already broke out, so they
Yeah.
must have just threw it now.
They threw it down,
They go up there and charge their cell phone.
but they got in
I thought we turned it off. We can't turn it off?
There's an outlet hot up there.
yeah.
Oh, well, we should just go open the panel and figure out which one it is and turn it off. So
But they broke into the left room where the electrical panels are, but they peeled a piece of plywood, so they're getting in underneath the grandstands, and so they're taking stuff out of
what is there, Rick? I've never,
there's a lot of stuff left underneath there. Softballs, helmets, irrigation equipment, all our irrigation pipe.
so they're getting in from the door or they're getting in underneath?
They're getting in they're going into that room and then I'll show you a picture of what they.
But they get in that man door is how they're accessing that?
Mhm.
So what if you just plywooded over and screwed it? Screwed it so no one could get in?
Going inside the building and then getting underneath the steps, the grandstands.
What amazes me is these little shits think they can just go in there all night long and bang around with axes because they know there's no police on duty. So how do they know there's no police? I mean, they're doing this Saturday night or Sunday night? Must have been Sunday night.
So they tried that plywood.
Well, yeah, go in there with an axe and beat on things. So they're not worried about being quiet.
No, and
Or they're doing it during the day. You don't want to be up there crawling around throwing glasses out.
It's got to be at night
Or in the evening, just before dark.
or late at night.
With as much baseball's been going on there that it's surprising to me because there's been a lot of people around.
Yeah, it's dark. And I went over and talked to, I can never remember his name, that's redoing the house on the corner, really nice.
Oh, yeah, I don't know who that
I
is.
talked to them and he went to bed about 8 or 9 o'clock and he never heard anything. So it happened at late at night, I'm sure. But they made a lot of noise with the broken glass and just how they destroyed that inside room is just,
Trail cam.
yeah. So anyway, I'll get with you in the next couple of days if we could figure out how to secure that or I don't know. I don't want people to get in there and I don't know. Maybe you guys
Well, if it
got,
starts with something like this, it could get worse.
well,
That's why we need to get a handle on it. Because they get braver and braver. Every time they go in there, they escalate their damage.
I figured they did about $500 worth of damage and that's the report I gave to the officer, so.
Probably the same little suckers destroying our bathroom.
No. I don't think so. I found
Those guys were like 12.
I found
I think it's someone out later than that.
yeah, I found a empty Camels pack and I know who smokes that, Camels.
Lots of people smoke Camels.
Well,
That's why.
Not at 12.
Let's do a DNA test on those suckers.
anyway, that's all I have. I'm trying to move forward with it. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Hard to have nice things in Vernonia sometimes.
Right. I tell my kids,
Do we? That curfew ordinance still on the books?
I think we do, but what it sounds like from him, it's not going to be the 17-year-olds. It's going to be someone a little bit more rough than that.
Mhm.
I guess,
Because I have a 17-year-old. I know where they're going and it's not there.
yeah.
I mean, I know where they're hanging out and, I can see her location. I think we,
10 o'clock.
no, I think it's 11, but I'd have to look up, like Dale's saying, I don't know.
I thought it was 10.
I thought it was 10.
It's 11.
Maybe it's 11.
It might be 11:30.
People who are breaking and entering into a building probably aren't listening to the curfew rule.
Right. You could ask them what they're doing out, but then if they work at one of the businesses and they have a job, then there's, not as,
Yeah, they got legitimate.
yeah, it's not as tight of a thing as it used to be with like, what are you doing out, Jimmy?
I mean, it just,
I think it's more than one of them.
it's a tool in the tool chest. And it's kind of the peer pressure thing is, if this stuff keeps going on, that is one avenue that we can go.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier for law enforcement.
Mhm.
After your time, you gotta go home. Catch you again,
Yeah.
we're talking to your parents. Next time, it's a citation. I mean, it's just, it's a progressive thing. Cause I can't remember, somebody else posted something up about some kids being out like 1:30 in the morning doing something and everybody goes, and we don't know what the problem is here. What are they doing out at 1:30 in the morning?
Right.
You should know where your kids are at and what they're doing. So.
We don't have any cameras in Spencer Park, do we?
No, that was some of the Verkada money that Chief was talking to you guys about with the ARPA funding.
We don't even have one on the restroom over there, do we?
No. You either have to do it where you go get the card or it's a Wi-Fi. And we wanted to wait to Wi-Fi because it's just so much easier. They can review the footage. You can download the footage. It's not, you're pulling a card out and bringing it back here and looking at it. It's more of a real time was why we were trying to go with that.
So, and it's probably needs discussed just with the chief, but they do make those cellular game cameras now. They're like a couple $100, but they do basically what those other do. It goes right to your phone. I think there's cloud storage. There's a little,
Yeah.
it's either AT&T or Verizon.
Right.
Plans, you got to pay for a monthly plan. I don't know how many of those cameras you can put on one, but.
So part of the reason we were going with the Wi-Fi route is we don't currently the police have a cell phone, but it's not, that's not their primary cell phone.
Right.
So we'd have to do something about that, like one that bounced around to them or something when they're on shift or something, because we don't pay for everyone's. We pay a stipend, so I can call you whenever and you're going to answer, but not the paying for the phone thing. So,
Yeah, and I don't know how many notifications, can you have it notified at different phones? I don't know. I don't know, but
Yeah.
that is an avenue. I don't know. I mean, we'll discuss that later this month, I guess,
Yeah.
whether we're interested in that, because they had some other, the environmental sensors, which somebody inside a building beating on stuff with an axe would have definitely tripped.
right.
They would have got an immediate notification that, hey, this should be quiet here. This
Right.
But remember, they wouldn't go in that building because the city doesn't own it.
Well, that's true.
Well, the city owns it. They don't lease it. We lease it to them.
We're not responsible for maintaining it right now.
Yeah, but isn't it under city police protection? So we probably still would have.
No, it is, but she's just saying that the sensor might not be in that building. You wouldn't mount one potentially on a building you're leasing because
Private.
it's a private thing. It's not like they're just a tenant. They're actually leasing the whole thing, doing the improvements themselves. Does that make sense? It's different than a tenant that's in your.
Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, there's still, when there's crime occurring within the community, I pay taxes. I expect a certain.
But then are
You
you,
wouldn't put a camera in my property.
right, that's what I'm saying. Then it would be like, somebody's slashing my tires. The city put the thing on the grandstands. Now they need to put it on my house to catch who's doing that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So we got to be careful about how we do it. Doesn't mean we couldn't mount one on a light pole near it that would pick up the percussion or something. We could be tricky about it, but we got to be careful that we don't set ourselves up for other people,
Yeah.
get the job done without getting other people mad, I guess is what I'm saying. Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, now I forgot what I was gonna say. One thing I want to do was thank you for doing that fish and getting it all taken care of.
Yeah, that fish looks very nice.
I wanted to acknowledge your work on that. I'd imagine Linda helped you or something.
Yeah,
So that
it
was
might
nice.
last a few more years. We shot, when we cleaned it, water shot through from one side to the other. Marvin even looked at it and said, good job. That solid stand really helped it. So,
Well, I appreciate it. So,
yeah.
oh, I know, I remember. I was gonna ask you, can I get an update on Airport Park? Do we have the same park host? Or I haven't been out there in a long time.
We have the same park host,
Okay.
Tony.
Yeah, I just saw a post where there was some garbage. I didn't know if he was still around or not. So
There was garbage.
somebody picked it up. Just a citizen picked up a bunch of junk. So
I was just out there looking at stuff with him and I didn't see junk, but
some camper might have left it. I don't know.
yeah.
It's like a bunch of stuff out of the garbage can and stuff.
Oh, it was like some tipped over garbage can or something?
No, they're just people being messy.
Cigarette butts and junk. But anyway, I just was
Same.
wondering if he was still out there.
Yep.
Some campgrounds post something, leave it cleaner than you found it.
Yeah.
And that helps.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Invisible visitors, you can only hope.
Right.
Okay, anything else? Ready for action item summary?
Okay, so we are going to order the 2 cemetery tester poles, check the engraving offset on the columbarium engravings. Moving forward with the acoustical paneling, but get someone to do testing before and after. And then stuff I'm looking at for Public Works Committee is find the fish stencil and potentially put that together for before Salmon Festival, some sort of spraying at the catch basins. Check if Pioneer Cemetery is on the historic registry. Order a metal Old Mill Marsh sign. And then I'll wait kind of for Michael for the dark skies at night thing. I've seen the caps we would need, so I have the money numbers if he wants to do that. And then look at our LED frequency and maybe talk to him about where the background is of what's good and bad. So I can see it for myself.
Flagpole who?
Calhoun,
Oh,
off Public Works Committee.
well, he's on a lot of committees now.
I think he's only on that one, right?
Oh, I mean, he's on parks for the county also now.
Oh.
Were you able to get an application for the tree?
Yeah, so the peace tree, he had already submitted it.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we're just waiting for the paperwork back, and then we're working on plans for the structure that's going to go up there for the fall. Might even be later than fall, might be spring by the time we plant it, depending on what we get. This or beanie.
Okay. Any other thing she needs to add to that? Okay, I will adjourn the meeting at 9:10 PM. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
All righty.